Okay, then here we go. So, first, let me just go ahead and tell you this. Um, I'm not doing, what's the practice what you preach? I'm not doing that right now because I'm not going to get a straight edge and lay it on the top of this iPad. But when you do this, please use a straight edge. Now, it says up here to use your geometry template, and you don't have one of those. So, I cannot find them. I have a bunch of extras left over from Brebuff, but I don't know where they are. I need to look. Maybe, hang on. Let's see if they got it on Amazon. I'm just going to talk to you while I look on Amazon. If they do, I'll just order us a few. I don't know where we used to get it. Well, I know we used to get them from the Brebuff store, but I don't know where they got theirs. So, but what it is, it's just it's a little template so you can sketch things and the pictures look really good. Oh, they do have them. Let's see. There's exactly the one we used to use. Which one looks better? I'm just going to get the one we always use. How much are they? That's okay. We'll get me one and you one. Bye now. Place the order. Okay, so in a couple days, me and you will have a template. Or I guess you and I will have a template. So, right now, mine is not going to look good, but yours still could because you do have access to a straight edge at any time. But the template does help, particularly with the planes, I think. But then again, I always want my planes to be bigger than, I guess, they have to be. Anyway. All right, so I'm just going to shut up now and just start talking. So we want line M intersecting line N in plane P. So this is where the template comes in. You just draw a parallelogram. You got plane P, and then there's line N. So you got one N, or one line, and it intersects line M. And that's it. So when you label up a line just with that single, I guess, letter, the little lowercase cursive letter, you put that out on the end of the line. Okay. So line AB, line on plane P. Okay, so draw plane P. And then just have line AB on it. Now, when you call it line AB, then you have to show two distinct points on that line being points A and B. Okay. All right, so this one we got segment PQ bisects AB. Okay, so let's draw segment AB. If it's getting bisected, it's going to get cut in half. So I have to put the tick marks to show that it's getting cut in half. And then PQ needs to go through that point that's called the midpoint. P would be one end, Q would be the other, and it does not get bisected. So you might want to do this. You don't have to. You might want to put like 2 tick marks and 3 tick marks to show that they're definitely different lengths. Without that, we would assume that they're different. Well, we don't assume anything. Without those extra tick marks showing they're absolutely different lengths, there is a chance that they can still intersect. Like, but by us doing this, we're definitely saying it does not, AB does not bisect PQ. All right, so line M intersecting segment AB, but not bisecting segment AB. All right, so you've got segment AB, so start there. You've got some line M that's going to intersect that segment, but not bisect it. So then I'm definitely going to say those are not the same length. All right, now here's where, when you start drawing the three-dimensional stuff, this is where you've got to be careful. And this is where it takes practice. Do not shortchange and just be, oh, I can draw that on a test. Okay, so we've got plane P. Okay. Line L is going to intersect that plane in exactly one point. So that point has to be in the plane. So I can see line L intersecting it. But here is where the mistake gets made. Here's what people will do. They'll draw their plane, and they'll just say, here's line L running through it. Okay, if you draw it like that, that line lies entirely in that plane. I don't care if you meant for it to be in a, like, going off in a third dimension. It doesn't care what you mean. It shows what you got to draw it the way it would actually happen. So, like, if you're going to show that a line is not in a plane, completely in the plane, then there's got to be a dotted part of that line that shows, like, oh, that's the part that I wouldn't have been able to see behind this flat surface. Okay, like that's a non-negotiable. And I looked at yours, and you weren't doing that. So this is where we've got to be real careful. Okay, so this is also hard to draw in my opinion because I'm not a very good drawer. But we got plane P intersects plane Q. Okay, so let's say you take plane P. And we want it to get intersected with a plane Q. Okay, so this is where I have trouble doing this part. So let's say this comes down like that, and then this would come across, and then this would extend. I wouldn't be able to see that part. It would pop out the back side. But then I've still got a section on here that I wouldn't actually be able to see. So I've got to come back. Let's see. And I'd be able to see this. I'd be able to see this. I wouldn't be able to see that. So one of them's plane P, the other one's plane Q, and there they are intersected in a line. And I know it looks like a line segment, but it's technically a line because remember, planes don't have edges. They go on forever. So, this line of intersection would extend on forever. Okay, so, all right, rays AB. Okay, so let's just draw a ray AB. And CD intersect in more than one point. So there's all sorts of ways you could do this. I could put, like, say there's ray AB, and maybe I put point C here and point D there. And so ray CD would be this ray. And so they would intersect in all the points in ray CD. Some people might do this. They might draw ray AB. I'm just thinking of two options. I might put like C here. And just head off in the other direction, throw D down here someplace, and then they're intersecting right there in the segment AC. Or you could put D like right there. I mean, you got all sorts of options, just they can't intersect in just the single point. So they're going to have to be collinear is basically what we're getting at in some way so that they'll overlap in an extended little piece of space. Okay, so line N contains the midpoint of segment AB. So we're going to draw segment AB. We need a midpoint. Nobody knows it's the midpoint unless you tell them. And then line N just needs to contain that midpoint. Okay, so this one, non-congruent and non-coplanar segments PQ and ST. Again, this is a tough thing to draw. Okay, so like, if you want to show the non-congruent part's easy. Oh, that's a really gross looking plane. Let's do that again. All right. So here's just a plane. Let's throw a segment in that plane. Okay, so here's segment PQ. It's going to be in the plane that I drew. There's going to be another segment that is not in this plane. The only way you can show it not being in that plane is with a dotted line. So say there's segment ST, and then I want to show that this is definitely not the same length as that. So just based on how this is all configured, it's hard to do that with tick marks like actually on the segment itself. So people will put, like, they'll go, okay, let's group all this together and talk about it's one length. This one over here was a different length. But the part I was noticing looking at your pictures, like, you never did any of this dotted stuff, and you've got to. And then this was just a review, unions, intersections. This is like an or, this is like an and. So let's just check A union of B. So that's going to be the set that contains anything that's in either one of them. Okay, so they both have a 0, but remember, you only list it once. There's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3, and there's a 4. So, oops, I don't like the way that 4 looks. Okay, but the intersection of A and B, the only thing that's in both of them is 0. So it's the set that only contains the number 0. All right, and then let's just check and see how you did here. So plane P, so we got this entire plane right here. Union with point A. Well, point A, based on how this is drawn, is in that plane. So if I take all the points in the plane, union them together with point A, then that's just going to be the entire plane, which is not a bad idea. Remember to say the word plane out in front, because then nobody's going to think it's some point, even though obviously on the picture it's not just some random point, but still. Okay. All right, plane P. Oh, I should not have erased. Plane P intersecting point A. What do they have in common? Point A. Okay. All right. Plane P and line L, the way this is drawn, because there's nothing dotted on line L, that means it's entirely in plane P, which means the union of line L, which is in plane P, and plane P is going to be plane P. Okay, but the intersection will be line L, because that's what they have in common. All right, let's see. So we're taking plane P, so again, this whole flat surface, intersecting it with line AB. Well, line AB runs through plane P at point A, so that's the point they've got in common. Okay, this one, line AB, not in plane P. Line L is in plane P, so that's the empty set. They have no intersection. They're in different planes, and they don't intersect at all. All right, the next one, so erase all this. Okay, so we're talking ray AB. So we're going to start at A, go through B, and keep going. So I always used to tell kids at Burbuff, I was like, just draw it farther than you need to and put an arrow on it. And then ray DC, so start at D, go through C, and keep going. Well, the part where they overlap is right there. So that's the segment AD. Okay. All right. Ray AB. So this ray here, unioned with ray DC. Oh, was it the same two rays? Okay, if I threw all that together, that's an entire line. So it's just the line that goes on forever both ways. And you can call that line whatever you want. It's any 2 points. You can call it line CA, line AB, line AD, line B, whatever, as long as you pick 2 distinct points on that line, but you put the line symbol on top, because it would be the whole thing if you unioned all that together. Okay, so ray AC, all right, so we got this ray here, and ray DC, which is this ray here, and we want the intersection, so we're looking for that overlap. So that's starting up at A and keeping on going. So that's got to be the ray AC. Okay, oops. And I know I talk really fast in these videos, and I may have told you this already, because I know you can slow the talking down if you want to. I know that you can pause it and rewind and listen to it 20 times, so it's okay that I'm talking fast. So, all right. Ray AC. All right, so we got this ray here, union with ray DC. All right, so this time it's a union. Again, I should not have erased that, which would be the entire ray right there. So it would be all ray DC. All right, so that, I know you put a note on in your work, like, this page is a repeat. It's a repeat on purpose, because I wanted you to go back and redraw the ones that you didn't draw correctly and have a place to do everything. Now, I did not check your work for these unions and intersections and all that, so just double check and make sure you got those right, because we don't want anything in that notebook that's wrong. And I'm going to try to upload this, and let's see if it goes better today.